They say greed never wears horns. It doesn't shout or warn. It comes quietly, dressed like opportunity, smiling like a friend. Peter Nnaji was a simple man, a clerk in one of Lagos's dusty government offices. Every morning he ironed the same 2 shirts, polished the same old shoes, and told himself that one day, things would change. He watched the rich drive by in tinted jeeps, their perfumes flooding the air, their laughter echoing like songs of another world. Every night, Peter ate Gary in silence. His walls had cracks. His dreams had holes. But deep down, he whispered the same prayer, God, make me rich, even if just for one day. One night, as the rain poured like a warning from heaven, Peter was walking home from work. The streets were empty except for a black SUV speeding through the storm. Suddenly, the car skidded, crashed into a ditch, and 2 masked men jumped out. They ran into the darkness, leaving behind a heavy black bag. Peter's feet stopped. His heart pounded. He looked around. No one. Just the sound of rain and thunder. Slowly, he opened the bag. Bundles of cash, fresh, thick, stacked like bricks of sin. He gasped, staring at the money as lightning flashed across the sky. And in that moment, hunger became silent, and greed began to speak. That night, Peter didn't sleep. He sat beside the bag, his mind whispering battles he could not silence. Should I take it to the police? Should I keep it? What if someone comes for it? But before dawn, greed had already won. The next morning, Peter walked into the office with a new shirt and polished shoes that smelled of pride. He smiled at everyone, even his arrogant boss. But money gotten from evil always smells like blood, even when new. He began to change. He spoke louder. He laughed more. He moved from his small room to a bigger apartment. New friends appeared like flies around sugar. Drinks flowed, parties lit up, and Peter became a man of class. But on the TV one night, a headline caught his eye: Politician's security fund missing, armed suspects on the run. His heart dropped. The same bag. The same night. The same car. That night, Peter heard a knock at his door. Slow. Heavy. He froze. He waited. Another knock. Louder this time. When he opened it, there was no one. Only a folded note on the ground. It read, "We know who you are." Fear replaced pride. Every sound became a warning. Every shadow a hunter. Days passed, but his peace never returned. He stopped sleeping. He stopped laughing. Even his reflection in the mirror began to look like a stranger. Then, one morning, as he stepped out of his house, 2 men in black suits approached. They smiled politely, their eyes cold. "Mr. Nnaji, we need to talk." They entered his home, uninvited, and sat like they owned the place. One of them opened a photo. It was the same bag, the same cash, the same car. "Where is the money?" the man asked. Peter stammered, sweat dripping down his face. I don't know what you're talking about." The man leaned closer. "Then pray your soul remembers, because the men who owned that money don't forgive." That night, Peter packed the bag and tried to run. He boarded a night bus heading out of the city, clutching the stolen money like a cursed treasure. But the farther he went, the heavier it felt. He hid in motels, in villages, in darkness. Yet no matter where he ran, greed followed. Weeks later, hunger returned. The money started to fade, spent on running, hiding, fear. And still, no peace. He went to a church one morning, hoping for redemption. The pastor looked at him and said, "My son, you cannot wash your hands in dirty water and expect them to be clean." Peter wept, but the guilt would not leave him. And then, one night, he heard another knock. The same slow, heavy rhythm. He didn't answer. He sat in the corner, trembling, clutching the bag like a shield. But when the door finally opened, it wasn't the men in suits. It was his conscience, the ghost of the man he used to be. He saw himself, poor, humble, content. The version of Peter that once smiled even in hunger. And that shadow spoke to him softly. "You prayed for wealth. But you forgot to ask for peace." Peter screamed, but no sound came out. The shadow faded. The lights went dark. The next morning, the police found him in his room, lifeless, the bag of money still beside him. The notes had turned to ash, as if fire had passed through them. No one ever knew where the money came from, or what truly killed Peter Nnaji. But some say, when a man's greed outweighs his grace, his wealth becomes his coffin. Because in the end, the price of greed is always more than you can afford.